Welcome back, my favorite gamers and developers. I have one more thing to show you this week, and then I'm going to go on break until Monday. It's happened to me 3 times now. I've needed a 7th stack in the mod stack. I know, it's super rare, and it probably shouldn't come up, and there was obviously a way to fix it during the game, but it happened. And I was wondering, why did we stop at 6? Maybe because they liked the dots and they didn't want to recreate it. Who knows? So I figured out a way to fix that. Also, I've always wanted a dice stack, but the mod stack wasn't really designed to easily be copied and pasted. So I changed that too. And my version of the mod stack can easily be copied and pasted, and once you update all the fields, you have a new stack for whatever you need. How do I know this? I did it. So let's take a look at what I got. So after copying and pasting my modifier code, I now have 2 stacks. I had to kind of play a little bit to figure out exactly how far left this needs to go for it to look right, but I think I found a good number. These controls, they work independently, so seems I didn't get rid of one of my debugs. And when you hover over the total, it will show you the bonuses, the bonus numbers. This also, like I said, you can, so you could type in /mod. I've made shortcuts to make the video a little bit easier, but I could start adding these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And when I hover over the total, you could see all 9 of them. You can also go scroll through and fix them. So you could see my 1, which is alpha, 2, beta, 3, kappa, so on and so forth. And then if you go to 8 and you say, oh wait, the holy cow is not supposed to be 8, that's supposed to be more. So go ahead and adjust it. So now holy cow is 13. And when you hover over, you could see holy cow is 13. And you can just add as many as you want. And it will show all of them. And when you roll, all of your bonuses will show. Pretty neat. So also, because I had this, I made something kind of simple just to show off that you can use the dice stack. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to say I need, I don't know. Oops, I clicked in it. So I need 5 dice. And I made this button that basically rolls however many stack is here, 6. So I click. There I got my 5d6. 15. There we go, 15d6. For World of Darkness players, if you want a difficulty stack, you can easily do that. If you need a auto success stack, you can also do that. You can have as many as you want. You just have to kind of nudge the dice over every time that you do that. So, how did I do that? Let's go check it out in the Ruleset Wizard. So here I have my modifier stack. This was the one I built, and this basically is just a modifier stack window. And then my icon control, I modified it. I just cleaned it up a little bit, basically got rid of the dots at the bottom. My label is modifier. Stack description is here. This will change depending on your modifier that you're currently selected in the index. I moved the targeting button over because it was needed in core, so I figured it was important. I brought it over here. The remove stack, this is a button that I have on here. So when I add, let's say I add 3 of them to here. So when I hover over, I got my alpha, beta, and kappa. So I can go to my beta and say, oops, I wasn't supposed to add that. I could click that, and now I just have the alpha and kappa. This is my edit label. This appears when you click in it. I'm not sure if you've ever accidentally clicked in the modifier stack when playing a game, but once you do, you can't really do anything. It's hard to change. What I've done is now when you click on it, it does the same, it still goes through the same process, but you could just type in the number or you could just leave it alone and press enter and it will go ahead and take. And that should have added, that'll add right to this. So if you click in it, you go into edit mode. To get out of edit mode, you just hit enter. But it'll take whatever number that you have in there. So if you click in it, it's best to hit 0, enter. And then that way, you're not accidentally changing your number like I just did. This is the stack index and the stack total. So here's the index value. So 2 is going to show my kappa, 1 is going to show my alpha, and you can see it out here, alpha and kappa. If I'm on 0 and I add a number, that's going to be counted as bonus. So the 0 index is always going to be your bonus wheel, or your default wheel. And then obviously this is the num. This is using the script modifier stack that I basically stole from Core RPG. Now, I'm not usually one for just taking a file and then just revising it, but since the modifier stack is used throughout all of Fantasy Grounds, I figured I needed most of those methods to come along. So every method that I did get rid of in the modifier stack modifier, I had to do a lot of searching in the code just to make sure that it didn't affect something else in Core RPG, because I didn't want to fix one thing but break 1,000 other things. So it is now just 2 additional Lua files. The original one that's in Fantasy Grounds is 3 because there's a base, but since I got rid of a lot of the base functions, these 2 handle everything. So again, you can download my file and take a look at what I did in here. I commented these out, I left them just because I wasn't sure if I really need them or not. So I'm just going to let them hang until I decide if I really do need them or not. I had to change kind of how the on drop works, mostly because I'm now writing to an index instead, and so if you compare my code to what you have in Core RPG, you'll see the differences. Modifier stack. So a lot of this wasn't localed, and it made that it was a global field that you can call from anywhere, which is fine. But the problem is that if I want to make this copy and pastable, I needed to make all local. So that was my first change that I did. And then I went through and I made some revisions down throughout here. And again, if you compare my code to the one in Core RPG, you could see the differences that I made. This one down in here in Git description, I left the debug on this one on purpose because I can't find what does force bonus. So I threw this in here just in case force bonus ever does show up. I want to know what it does. It might be for a different system, but dice stack, all I did was I took the modifier stack and I copied it over and I made dice stack. And dice stack modifier, it has all the same things that I showed you on modifier stack. The only change that I had to make was on my stack num. I had to reference dice stack modifier instead. And dice stack modifier and dice stack was a copy paste from the modifier stack modifier and modifier stack. Dice stack modifier, I did add these 2 new pieces here. On initiation, I do register the / handler for the word dice mod. And that way, so in here, you can type in, die mod. And it adds my woot right into here. Here, I'll clear it all and I'll do it again. Die mod 50. Cool. Boop. So I have my cool dice 50. That's going to be a lot of d6s. That's fun. And then everything from there down is exactly the same. The dice stack, everything from here down is also exactly the same. But please check out my code, compare it to core RPG so you can see how I changed and what I did. Compare the dice modifier dice stack to the modifier stack. You'll see that they're pretty much identical, with the exception of the register slash handler. And the last thing I did was I brought over the dice into here. I've had to do this for previous games, so I was used to making this game elements. And basically, the dice take up about 50 pixels. And so I just started at 300 and went up 50 for each one. And that's why the dice fall into line right about here. And obviously, if you add another stack, you're going to have to move the dice over more. So hopefully you found this useful. Maybe someone wants to edit my graphics and make this tool pop a little bit better. Damned. So I know I need it for my games. World of Darkness is where I picture this the most. They have a target number, so when you roll your 10-sided dice, you need to have a 6 or higher. That number often changes, and so does the number of dice. I could probably see another stack coming in there because there's some abilities or some modifiers that give you automatic successes. And so you're going to want to spin the dial on that one as well. But I'm not really sure yet. I haven't fully planned out exactly how I want my werewolf rule set to work. So I guess last thing, when you load this, you are going to also need to reset the graphics in the Ruleset Wizard, because your folder structure is most likely not the exact same as my folder structure. So if you have any questions or if there's something you'd like to see, just let me know in the comments down below. And until next week, keep gaming and keep developing.